Hey internet friends, my audio for my intro screwed up, but that's okay. This week we're gonna go on my buddy Dave's suggestion and we're gonna make pork tacos with some pineapple salsa and some delicious sour cream sriracha. It's gonna be fantastic. Screenshot the shot just like every other video and let's get started. So the first thing that we're gonna do is the marinade. To make the marinade, first you need meat for the marinade. We're going with a beautiful pork tenderloin here. What you're going to want to do is cut it into strips after first trimming some of the excess fat off. Once you've trimmed all the fat off to your amount that you really want, you can start cutting it into these strips. These strips will make it easier for you to cut it into cubes or keep them into smaller strips. Remember, we're making tacos, so I like my taco meat to be a little bit cubed, but this is America. You can make your tacos any way you want. If you want to make them into strips or in the ground, you know, you do you, boo. See, right here, perfect little meat cubes. Perfect taco-sized meat cubes. Once your meat is all cut up into cubes, you can put it into a bowl, and you can add one of the most important ingredients, sea salt. Big generous heaping of sea salt, and kind of mix around, make sure everybody gets a little bit. This will make sure that they're moist and tender once they're cooked. Go ahead and give them all a little mix. Next is your apple cider vinegar. I don't really have a measurement for this. You basically want to coat every piece of meat in the bowl. 2 big old tablespoons of chili powder and 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. That's teaspoons. And 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika. And last but not least, coarse black pepper. And now you want to use your very clean hands or gloved hands and mix it all together. Alternatively, you could use a spoon, but I thought I'd go authentic and make sure that every piece of pork is perfectly seasoned. Now that your pork is perfectly poignant, it's time to cover and put in the fridge for at least 3 hours and up to 24. With the pork party peacefully put away, we can properly peel and cut a pineapple. Alright, I'll stop with the pungent pings. Sorry. Cutting up a pineapple is a skill. It takes some practice. If you're not great at it at first, it's totally fine. Skinning it is a pain in the ass. Peeling it, doing everything, getting all these little chunks off is hard. But with practice, you can prevail with your pineapple. Sorry, last one. So just like with the tacos and the pork, we're making a salsa, so ideally you don't want huge chunks of pineapple. So you kind of want to cut them up into smaller little squares if you can. And if you don't want to spend the time and effort it is to cut a whole pineapple apart, just buy canned. It makes life easier. I just wanted to try cutting a whole pineapple, and it was kind of worth it because fresh pineapple is delicious. And next for our sweet pineapple salsa, we'll need some sweet peppers. I chose yellow, orange, red, basically any sweet pepper that you want. It'll all taste a little bit different, but I went with yellow and red mostly. There you can see there's an orange in there, but they're mostly yellow and red. And I showed the perfect way to cut peppers up for fajitas in my fajita video. It's the same concept, but now we're cutting them into tiny little squares because you don't want large chunks of pepper in the salsa. As you can see, I'm kind of julienning everything right here. I think that's the phrase, julienning. And then you want to kind of hold them all together and cut them into small little pieces just like this. It's not a hard skill to do. With a little bit of practice, there's a lot of peppers you can use. It becomes second nature. It becomes super easy. And then you can lather, rinse, repeat with all the other colors. It's exactly the same. And you want about 2.5 or 3 peppers of each color, depending on their size, in your salsa. Next, you want to cut up your red onion into very small pieces. As you can see, I'm doing the same exact method, cutting into small pieces and then holding them together and then cutting them into even smaller pieces. This is junior league stuff, guys. If you need help with this, practice. Just get a bunch of onions and start cutting them. Super easy. And then you want to core and cut 1 or 2 Roma tomatoes, depending on how tomato you like your salsa. I'm a big fan of the tomato flavor, so I did 2, but you guys only needed 1 if you don't want to do 1.5 tablespoons of cilantro. Now here's where some controversy is going to start. Some celery salt. A few generous shakes of celery salt. If you don't like it, don't add it. I love it. Then you want the juice of a whole lemon. Fresh lemons would be better. So cut one in half and just kind of squeeze all the juice out of it. Then grab your favorite mixing fork and mix everything together real nice. This is going to make all the flavors mix together. It's going to make everything happy. It's a party. You want it to be a party, make it a party. This next step is also super controversial, as you don't need to do it, but I like to do it because I'm a nutcase. But I took my immersion blender and I kind of just not entirely blending everything together, just kind of doing 1 or 2 little hops to make everything a little bit more liquidy, a little bit more consistent. Now we move on to the spicy sour cream, which all you have to do is add your favorite hot sauce to a few cups of sour cream. I use sriracha. Sriracha is fucking delicious. I highly recommend it. And this will go along the lines of like your taste factor. If you want it to be more creamy and less spicy, add more sour cream to the hot sauce ratio, and vice versa. If you want it more spicy, add more hot sauce. It's really impossible to screw this up. Just figure out what you like and run with it. Now that all the taco accoutrements are done, we can start cooking the pork, as long as it's been 3 hours by you. Start by heating up a pan and adding your favorite kind of oil. I went with vegetable, and go ahead and spread that oil all around. And then you want to make sure that that pan is piping hot before you add the pork to it. Once your pan is piping hot, add 1 piece of pork to make sure it's sizzling, and then go ahead and add some more. You don't want to overcrowd your pan. You want to make sure that you add just enough so that the pork has a little bit of room to breathe, so it doesn't steam it. You just want it to all be touching the heat, kind of like that. It's okay to do this in batches. Cook it in batches and then put it to the side as you're cooking the rest of it. Also, this is a good time that while your meat is cooking on a separate stove burner, you want to start heating up your tortillas. I'm using corn, so I need a lot of them, so I started heating these up a little bit earlier. But it's really all up to you. This is also the perfect time to chug a beer. And the thing with this pork is you're cooking it at such a high heat, you want to keep your eye on it. It'll burn super fast and super easy. So you want to kind of keep it moving, but also you don't want to babysit it too much and move it too much because it won't cook evenly. It's kind of hard to get the ratio down, but once you get it down, it tastes amazing. So basically you just want to let it sit for a few minutes, hit it with a wooden spoon, mix everything around, and make sure that every side's getting cooked evenly. It's almost the same thing that you would be doing on on a grill top, one of those big flat top surfaces. That's kind of like how they do it in restaurants, I feel like. And then once you know that your pork is cooked all the way through, don't be afraid to taste it, and then you can start plating it up and cooking the rest that you have not cooked yet. Now that we have all the components, we can start assembling these beautiful bad boys. Start with your fresh corn tortillas, and generous helping of pork, generous helping of this beautiful pineapple salsa, and then go ahead and drizzle some of that sour cream sriracha on. I put mine into a squeeze bottle so that my pictures look more Instagrammable. Speaking of Instagram, follow me on Instagram for more beautiful pictures like this, and let's eat this bad boy. The pork is very savory and delicious. The salsa is more sweet, and the sour cream sriracha gives it a little bit of creaminess with a kick, which is like just the right amount of heat, and it all combines together in like these delicious, perfect combination with the corn tortilla, and then with like the bite of the onion, the sweet peppers with the pineapple, really just like melt together with the pork. They're not authentic, but they're damn good. I highly recommend it. I keep looking at the wrong camera. I highly recommend it. Gee, wasn't that delicious? Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. I'm sure some of the videos will be around here somewhere. And don't forget to hit that bell button. Cheers.